But that's not where you start in Greedfall. You're in a sick room. Pale walls, dusky light, and the heavy air of decay. Everything here feels yellowed, like an old letter you shouldn't have opened. The tutorial board isn't dramatic. It's claustrophobic. Rooms feel narrow, like they're pressing in. You're surrounded by law, ritual, and rot. Government offices, alchemical labs, and your dying mother. Even the guards look like bureaucracy in boots. Everything is sealed, stifled, boxed in. In Serene, just as you're preparing to leave, a monstrous creature erupts from a ship. An event that feels like a declaration of the unknown world you're about to enter. But what's striking isn't just the fight itself. It's the way the monster is presented. It's grotesque, yes, but there's something mournful in its design, something almost helpless about it. It doesn't feel purely evil. It feels like a victim, a symbol of the sickness and corruption spreading through the world. This moment quietly foreshadows one of Greedfall's central themes, that conquest and colonization often involve fighting the unknown without ever truly understanding it. The game challenges us to see beyond the surface, to ask whether the monsters we face are enemies or just casualties of a broken world. It's a subtle but powerful narrative beat disguised as an action sequence. Then suddenly, sky. Greedfall gives you air. The port recedes, a violin rises. The color palette warms, just slightly. Blues deepen, whites brighten. You can breathe. This is one of my favorite tone shifts in any game. From quarantine to exploration, from stasis to possibility. When you land in Tier 4D, it's not a welcome party. It's wild. It's stunning. Trees lean in like they're watching you. The creatures don't wait for introductions. And the architecture. Carved bones in ancient wood, not clean lines in polished stone. Every environment here makes you feel like a guest, maybe even an intruder. And then, just as you're starting to feel free again, walls. Colonial settlements rise out of the wilderness, neat and ordered, and just as restrictive as the city you left behind. You're a diplomat, a noble, a stranger, and the game asks you to be all three. You speak in courts and crawl through caves, and every choice, every faction, every alliance layers another mask on your face. But even the masks are stylish. That coat, that hat, iconic. I may never take it off. Scattered throughout Tier 4D are these haunting, weather-worn frescoes, ancient murals that act as both history lessons and cryptic guides. At first, they feel like simple set dressing, but the more you study them, the more they reveal about the island's past, its god, and even your own mysterious origins. Visually, the frescoes are striking in their restraint. They're rendered in muted earth tones, ochres, siennas, and deep reds, like pigments drawn straight from the soil of the island. The style is primitive yet purposeful, with bold silhouettes and swirling patterns that mimic the flowing forms of nature. They almost look carved by time itself, as if the island is using its own skin to tell its story. The soft erosion of the paint and stone gives them a dreamlike quality, making every fresco feel like an artifact of memory rather than history. Each fresco tells a piece of a story that has been long forgotten or deliberately buried. They're often hidden in ruins, bathed in eerie light, and painted with motifs that hint at the Nadaigs, the island's guardians. Some frescoes even hold the key to solving environmental puzzles, like the one in the swamp. It's such a clever way to merge world building with gameplay. Every puzzle feels like an act of rediscovery, as though you're piecing together the soul of a culture that the colonizers can't understand. The frescoes aren't just art, they're warnings, blessings, and truths waiting to be decoded. And the closer you look, the more you realize they're not only about the island, they're about you. Scattered across Tier 4D are ruins that feel less like abandoned structures and more like the lingering ghosts of a vanished civilization. They rise out of the jungle with a quiet, melancholic grace. Stone arches entwined with vines, shattered statues leaning toward the earth as though they're weary of holding history. These places are never just background scenery. They feel alive with memory, humming with stories untold. What makes the ruins so captivating is the subtle storytelling woven into their design. There's a harmony of nature reclaiming stone, ferns curling through cracks, moss softening sharp edges, beams of sunlight piercing through shattered rooftops. The ruins aren't sterile monuments. They're deeply organic, as if the island itself has grown around them to keep them hidden, to protect the secrets they hold. The design of these areas is breathtaking. Each location is framed like a painting, with perfect compositions of shadow, overgrowth, and weathered stone that draw your eye to the smallest details. Walking through them feels like exploring a cathedral built by both time and nature, each ruin a silent confession of what came before. Greedfall doesn't just throw you into a fantasy setting. It transitions you from sick room to wildland, from order to uncertainty. And somewhere in that shift, you realize this isn't a game about saving the world. It's a game about figuring out if the world should be saved at all.